Hi, I'm Erik Voss, and Star Wars Episode VIII, The Last Jedi has its first teaser trailer. And yeah, while it's more of a teaser, giving us a few cryptic clues hinting at what the movie will be about, The Last Jedi still looks great. Luke Skywalker speaks, guys. Sure, he's breaking our hearts by telling us that Jedi have to end, but, you know, at least the guy's talking. Baby steps, guys. And this teaser was really well crafted, with a few little Easter eggs throughout that connect The Last Jedi to the rest of the Star Wars universe. Maybe some references to the EU as well. So I'm gonna dive deep and break down everything in this trailer, frame by frame, and point out a few things that you might have missed. So let's get started.
Light.
I think this teaser really wants us to feel that same excitement that we felt leading up to The Force Awakens, because this whole opening surprise is definitely meant to reflect the one that started the first Force Awakens teaser. There's a wide shot of a vast void as the music builds up tension until orchestral punch, with a sweaty, panicked, out-of-breath hero jumping into frame. So the idea is that The Last Jedi will have that same kind of suspense and surprise that The Force Awakens had. Also, this music with the strings and bell chimes leaving us in this mysterious state of unrest sounds very similar to the opening notes of the second Force Awakens trailer. Now, Rey's expression here seems like she just came out of a dream or a vision or something. Maybe another Force vision like the one she experienced in The Force Awakens. And the voice of Luke Skywalker instructs, "Breathe," suggesting a big part of this movie will be him training her the way another hermit, Yoda, trained him in The Empire Strikes Back. We also see these beautiful wide shots of Ahch-To, which, if you didn't know, is a real island called Skellig Michael on the southwestern coast of Ireland. It's actually the location of an ancient Christian monastery, and it's a protected historical site. And over this, we hear new music come in, the Force theme. Breathe. So this Force theme is actually the first of a few different musical themes that this trailer all weaves together. Okay, so after more awesome geoporn of Ahch-To and Rey looking out at the crashing waves, we hear Luke instructing her to reach out. And there's this shot of Rey's hand levitating rocks, which was rumored to be part of the footage showed to Disney investors last month. So it seems like Rey's training will follow Luke's even more closely. Remember, Yoda made him levitate rocks too. I actually think this levitation training will end with Rey's same hand bracing on the rock in that opening shot. And then, after Luke whispers, "What do you see?" the music shifts again. This is Rey's theme, composed by John Williams for The Force Awakens. We get this shot of the back of General Leia Organa. She's staring at this hologram star map, but let's look closely at this location. The window suggests that this is the bridge of a battleship, and I'm pretty sure that's Admiral Akbar in the background there, so this could be his Mon Calamari flagship, Home One. And if you listen really closely to this part, they very subtly mixed in the audio of Leia's line from the very first Star Wars chapter, A New Hope.
Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope.
And that plea for help from Leia was Luke's first sight of his sister. And this teaser is repurposing that moment to establish Luke's remaining Force connection with his sister, even though his exile has made her distant and faded in his memory. And by calling this image light, Rey is suggesting that of all the different parts of the Force that she could be reaching out to, Leia represents the one remaining light part of it. And we see the other side of the Force as we move on to the next section.
Darkness.
So this next part shifts over to the dark side. There's this mysterious shot of what looks like the crushed helmet of Kylo Ren. You can see a similar pattern on this piece here. So what happened here? Whatever this is, it's a mess. There's a piece of a helmet that's still smoking. So this could be the ruins of Starkiller Base, even though I'm pretty sure it was completely wiped out. Or slightly more likely, it could be Kylo's ship as he angrily retreats from that defeat. And it's interesting to see Kylo's destroyed helmet, which is another echo from the Force Awakens trailer, which included a shot of Kylo looking at Darth Vader's destroyed mask. Now, Kylo modeled his helmet to show respect and admiration for his grandfather. So I think this image here is meant to tie into that family connection. Also, again, the audio plays into this with the missable sound of Vader's iconic breathing. Also, you can just barely make out the voice of Obi-Wan Kenobi as he tells Luke about Anakin's fall.
Vader was seduced by the dark side of the Force.
And right before Rey labels this side of the Force darkness, we hear the new music theme that this trailer shifts into. This is John Williams' Kylo Ren theme from The Force Awakens. All right, let's move on.
A balance. It's so much bigger.
Okay, so now that Rey has reached out to the light side of the Force and the dark side, this third image takes us somewhere she calls
A balance.
And the imagery of what we see here is a literal balance of light and dark, a beam of light streaking through the dark surroundings. Now, this is a small bookshelf, and the wall behind it looks like the roots of a tree. Now, in past Star Wars videos that we've done, we've talked about how in the expanded universe novel Shattered Empire, Luke Skywalker tracks down two Force-sensitive trees that once grew under the Jedi Temple in Coruscant. And one of those trees gets planted in the home of Poe Dameron, which might explain why he's such a great pilot. Meanwhile, maybe the other Force tree could be part of the roots that we're seeing here, like Luke planted it on this island. Now, I doubt that The Last Jedi will bring in that EU theory into this movie, but it could be a reference to it. Now, so what exactly are these books? When Rey looks at one of the pages, we see this symbol. This is a symbol of the Jedi Order. I always love this image, especially how it uses the lightsaber flare imagery from that original Star Wars poster. And I'm guessing that Luke was able to recover all of these old texts from around the galaxy, like maybe in the ruins of that Jedi Temple. And under this, you can just barely hear the voice of Yoda from Empire Strikes Back.
Its energy surrounds us and binds us.
There's also the sound of a lightsaber powering up. Now, this balance that they refer to between light and dark sides of the Force has been kind of the classic dualism at the heart of the entire Star Wars saga. But what Luke says here suggests that The Last Jedi will go much deeper than this conflict.
It's so much bigger.
So there's a few ways that we can interpret Luke's words here. Some of them are sexual, so let's just ignore those for now.
It's so much bigger.
Okay, I said ignore. There are also a few things in the expanded universe that can help explain this. One is the concept of Gray Jedi, or Gray Knights. Now, a Gray Jedi is a Jedi who walks the line between the light and the dark sides of the Force without surrendering to the dark side. It also refers to Jedi who distance themselves from the Jedi High Council and operate outside of the Jedi Code. And one example is a character Jolee Bindo from the Knights of the Old Republic game. There's also been some debate over whether Qui-Gon Jinn was a Gray Jedi. Then again, some people at the Lucasfilm Story Group have rejected this idea, saying that the dark side isn't meant to give a Jedi edge or make him more of a badass. It's meant to be a binary opposite with a real cost. But still, I could see how this idea influences where Luke is at right now. Like, he saw how there was still good in his father even after he surrendered to the dark side. And later, his attempts to bring back the old dogmatic Jedi Order and traditions led to the disaster of his nephew Ben becoming Kylo Ren. So, just like how the color of Luke's clothes gradually changed throughout the films, starting white but then becoming increasingly darker as he became closer to his father, and then back to these gray midtones, maybe the concept of the Gray Jedi is influencing Luke subconsciously in his exile. Like, it could just be his experiences have led Luke to seeing things not in black and white with the Force, but more in shades of gray.
It's so much bigger.
Okay, I didn't say 50 50 Shades of Grey. The other possible EU influence on Luke here comes from the figure Bendu from Star Wars Rebels. So Bendu is a massive, ancient, moose-looking creature with camouflagey, bark-like skin. He's definitely Force-sensitive, and he can do a lot of things that Jedi can't even do, but he claims to be neither light nor dark, but in the middle. Actually, the word Bendu is a deep throwback to George Lucas's original script for A New Hope, where the original name for Jedi was Jedi Bendu. And some people are suggesting that so much bigger could be referring to Bendu's massive size, and that the surface behind the bookshelf is Bendu's bark skin, but no. I'm really leaning against Bendu or Gray Jedi turning up in this movie literally, but I do think the philosophy behind them is true for Luke. Like, the old simple duality of the Star Wars saga isn't true for him anymore. And before I move on, this shot of Rey training with Luke's lightsaber on the cliffside features a few interestingly shaped rock formations. Like one as the camera pans around the cliff and another next to Rey. Like, these might just be boulders, but they definitely look human-shaped, right? Like, I'm wondering if the one next to Rey will end up being some kind of monument that Luke made in the shape of Obi-Wan or Anakin or Yoda, or just a boulder. Let's move on. Okay, so here the teaser kicks into gear. First are these shots of, I'm guessing, resistance fighters as they speed across this remote planet called Crate. And they're flying towards First Order walkers. And those have been nicknamed guerrilla walkers since they're larger with bigger, sturdier front arms firmly planted in the ground, and probably because we're too eager to shoot them. R.I.P. Harambe. Now, what are these fighters doing? At first I thought they were releasing plumes of red smoke like Skyrider planes, but no, they're actually using these anchors to scrape the ground, kicking up this bright red soil. Now, I'm not sure exactly why they're doing it, but my guess is that they're kicking up dirt as a smokescreen effect, like maybe making it harder for the walkers to target them. And this red color is such an interesting visual choice for a planet in a Star Wars movie. Like, we don't normally see non-earthy colors or places that couldn't plausibly exist somewhere on Earth. And Rian Johnson said that Crate is the location of an old Rebel base where red mineral sand is covered in a white, dusty salt surface. So maybe this red is caused by oxidized, rusted metal particles in the soil. We also get this quick shot of Finn, who looks like he's still recovering in some kind of medical pod. Remember, he left his fight with Kylo Ren pretty messed up. And in case you were wondering, someone actually translated the Aurebesh letters on the screen there, and while some of it just translated to nonsense, the word here means stable, so I guess he's okay. Also, look at the corners of the frame. That flashing blue light kind of looks like hyperspace to me. So I know this sounds crazy, but maybe Finn is being sent through hyperspace in his own portable medical escape pod, which might explain why he has this additional shell over his body, which would like protect him from turbulence. Now, I don't know if that's even possible with Star Wars technology. Like, this pod would need its own hyperdrive, right? Seems excessive. Like, I can buy interstellar escape pods for Kryptonians, but less so for cast-strapped resistance soldiers. Still, this could mean that wherever Finn was recovering ended up under attack, so that his body had to be hastily sent off like this. And I'm guessing that attack is what we're seeing in these next few shots with Poe and BB-8. There's an explosion in a resistance hangar that nearly engulfs Poe's black X-Wing. And if you look over to the left, those two engines belong to an A-Wing, which we get a quick glimpse of later on in this teaser. But let's move on.
I only know one truth.
So here, there's more action with the Millennium Falcon and a dogfight with TIE fighters. And I'm interested to see who's piloting the Falcon here, considering it won't be Han. So I don't know if this means Rey will be taking the wheel now, or Chewie, or maybe we'll get a little cameo from Mr. Billy D. Williams. Now, I know they said Lando wouldn't be in this movie, but come on, a kid can dream. And after shots of Rey running with Luke's lightsaber and Kylo Ren menacingly twisting his same blade, which I guess he still has, along with that scar that Rey gave him, we get this interesting shot of Luke and R2D2 looking at this burning structure. Actually, this shot looks like it's part of that same mystery scene scene that Rey saw in her Force vision. And that burning building looks a lot like a Jedi temple with a central pyramid. So we're probably gonna see this event in The Last Jedi, possibly a flashback to when Kylo turned on Luke. I also like how this visual parallels Luke returning home to find another flaming pile of ashes in the shape of his aunt and uncle in A New Hope. Man, I really hope Luke has homeowner's insurance. Really though, I think these tragic homecomings are meant to be connected to characterize Luke as a wanderer disconnected from his home. And then in a different fiery location, we get a quick shot of Captain Phasma as she marches in with First Order soldiers. Now I feel like this could be that same resistance hangar after the attack, and Phasma has arrived, probably in search of that traitorous FN 2187 who forced her inside a trash compactor in Starkiller Base. There's also some quick but amazing space battle shots with these new looking resistance frigates forming a line as X-Wings and TIE fighters take each other out. There's also a quick shot of an A-Wing, and let's move on to this final part.
It's time for the Jedi to end.
Wow, okay, I don't know about you, but I was like, ooh, time for the Jedi to what? Return? Wait, that's already a movie title. To kick some ass? Party down?
To end.
What? Luke, you're breaking my heart. Daisy Ridley actually described Rey's sense of disappointment here. She said, Rey has a certain expectation as to what she might be getting from Luke. It's difficult when you meet your heroes. So it sounds like when this movie picks back up on that shot with Rey returning Luke's lightsaber to him, his reaction might be something more like, sorry kid, I ain't the Jedi that I used to be. Get off my island! Of course, this all makes sense because this is The Last Jedi. But now this teaser has given us more context to what that means. For Luke, this perennial conflict within the Force with the light Jedi on one side and the dark Sith on the other hasn't really given him the balance or answers that he's been seeking. And I think he's suggesting here that in order to end the Sith, the Jedi must also end. And that involves moving beyond the old dogma of the Jedi Order into a more complex, pluralistic view of the Force, which this final shot reflects, showing Luke exiting the cave, entering a more enlightened world. Okay, so those are all the things that I noticed in this first teaser for The Last Jedi, but I'm sure we'll see even more footage and set photos in the coming months that will clear a lot of this stuff up, along with the rest of the cast like Chewie and 3PO and Rose, Kelly Marie Tran's character, and hopefully Snoke, but come on guys, Snoke is everyone, right? Isn't that what the theory is? We do a ton of Star Wars coverage. I actually did a super in-depth Rogue One breakdown that you should go check out if you haven't already. And if you like this video, please hit like and subscribe to New Rockstars and share this video around. You can also contribute to us on Patreon. Thanks so much to all of our current patrons. You guys are all great, especially Wilhelmina Ebbison. You can hit me up on Twitter at EA Voss with any thoughts or predictions you have on The Last Jedi, or follow New Rockstars on Twitter at New Rockstars for updates on our videos. All right, thanks for watching. Bye.